Chop Suey by System of a Down is probably my favorite System of a Down song. Came out in the early 2000s, and if you're a drummer, you've probably tried to play it at some point. Now, this song has a lot of tricky parts in there, but that does not mean you can't play it, even if you're a beginner. And I'm going to prove that to you by showing you the 5 levels of Chop Suey. And if you are already playing this song, you'll get to figure out what level you're at. And if this lesson helps you, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get to it. So the first level I like to call Let Me Get Through This Song. And that's where you're a beginner drummer and you can maybe play a basic beat with a metronome in time and you want to dive into Chop Suey. Well, I got good news for you. You're going to be able to play this song. So what we're going to do here is we're going to simplify everything. What we're going to focus on is playing in time, hitting those transitions, and just keeping a solid quarter note pulse happening. So the intro, there's an incredible tom section that John Dolmayan plays. It's absolutely amazing. You want to play it, but you just can't. Don't worry, simplify it. You know there's tom textures there, so all we're going to do is play quarter notes on the toms. I'm going to use my high tom and my low tom. I'm assuming if you're a beginner, maybe you only have a 5-piece kit, so we're going to ignore this tom for now. We're just going to play these two, something like this. Now that's a pretty simple part. The thing to keep in mind is not to flam those notes, try to make them all precise and even. And that's going to cover that intro section. It's got that tom flair to it. It might not be the exact part, but it's going to sound good when we put it all together. The next section, there's a little bit of a build right before that main riff happens. And what we're going to be doing there is we're going to use our right hand and we're going to play 8 notes on the floor tom all the way up until the 4 count. Something like this. Now you're also going to notice that I was playing 4 on the floor with my bass drum. That's going to hit the quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the other thing is, instead of hitting the floor tom on the 4 count, play the snare drum with your left hand. So it'll look like this. And if you can hit your bass drum on the snare, go for it. If you miss it, that's not a big deal. Just get the snare down. So that first intro section with the toms would sound like this. Practice that before you put it to the song. Let's get to the main riff now. Like I said before, you're a beginner, so you can play a basic quarter note beat. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna play the bass drum on the 1 and 3, snare drum on the 2 and 4, keep your hats open, get that nice loud rock sound. It'll sound like this. So if you're a beginner, chances are you can play those sections. The next step is to play it in time, practice it a bit, and let's throw it into the track so we can hear it in context. Okay, so level 2, I like to call the weekend warrior. This is the level where you jam with your friends every other weekend or so, and from time to time you request this song to jam because you love it so much. But your buds who are in your band, they need a little bit more than just that basic 2/4 beat that you played in level 1 to get into this song. But you're also nowhere near John Dolmayan's skill. So that's not going to stop you. Here's what we're going to do. So for that tom section, now you're going to start adding in those 8 notes where it kind of recreates that descending tom pattern that you hear in the intro. It's not going to be identical, but at least you're going to get close to it. Here's how that sounds. Now your melody might sound a little bit different than that, but the main thing to take away here is you're adding more movement to the toms and you're starting to recreate some sort of a descending rhythm or descending melody. Now for that build, you're going to do the same thing as level 1, but you're going to play the shot on the snare on the and a 4, which is where the actual shot happens in the song. As a beginner, it's sometimes hard to hit that, but you're a weekend warrior now, so you're going to hit that on the and a 4. Sounds like this. Now when the main riff comes in, because you're jamming on the weekends as much as you can, you know how to play 8-note grooves on the hi-hats. You also know how to play some 8-note grooves on your bass drum. So your beat isn't just a quarter note rock beat anymore. Now you're playing something like this. Right? That's a pretty basic beat that I see a lot of beginners play, and if you can play that beat and you can play that tom section, you're gonna have a good time playing Chop Suey. Let's put it all together in the song so you can hear how it sounds. All right, level 3 is what I like to call, I've played this song on Rock Band before, and at this level, you feel like you know the song inside and out because you've got above 90% on Rock Band. And through the magic of video games, you can now pick apart rhythmic melodies and follow along with the song a little bit more closely to the actual original. Now on this level, that tom intro matches the song a little bit more because you're able to, like I said, play it on Rock Band, but you're still not quite there yet. You're playing more 16th notes up here and you're trying to get that descending feel going, but it's close. It might sound something like this. All right, it might be a little bit different on your side, but the idea is there's more movement happening there. For that build, now your foot's working out a little bit more because you're playing Rock Band every day and you're able to play 8 notes to match that tom build. You're also still playing the snare on the and the 4 to match the song. Sounds like this. All right, and for the groove, now you've mastered that 16th note on your snare, so you can actually get that snare drum to not just play the 2 and the 4, but to also play that little pickup after that backbeat. Sounds like this. All right, so throw it all together and it sounds pretty good. Here's what level 3 sounds like in context. Level 4 is what I like to call my cover band plays this, and at this level, you're in a band and you're actually playing this song, whether it's just in the rehearsal space or maybe you're actually playing it at shows. But you've spent the time to kind of go through all the parts and get them down, but you're not quite there yet. So on level 4 on that tom intro, you're playing almost exactly what John's playing. The only difference here is that you might anchor yourself on that floor tom and not play that extra 8th note, which is totally fine. Most people won't even hear it. And for that build, now you're playing 2 toms. You're getting a little bit more beef for that, and you're playing the shot again on the and of 4. Sounds like this. That's pretty close. Now let's talk about the main riff groove. By this point, you got your bass drum playing 16th notes so you can actually play the pattern that John is playing. Sounds like this. All right, you're rocking the 8th notes consistently on the hi-hats. You got that 16th note happening on your bass drum and your snare. Everything's coming together. Let's hear how level 4 sounds in context. Level 5 is John Dolmayan level. This is where you're actually playing what John is playing in the song, and you're sounding very close to the album. So the intro part for level 5, you're going to notice that I have an extra tom in here, and that's because that's what John plays. So if you're on a 5-piece kit, you need an extra tom to play at a level 5. You're also going to notice that I'm playing an 8th note, an extra 8th note on the and of 4. I'm going to keep that tom feel happening. And for this big floor tom here, I'm playing that on the start of that intro. Really give it that kick right in the very beginning, something like this. And for the build right after that, we're gonna do almost exactly what we did for the previous level, only this time we're gonna play a flam for the snare instead of just a single shot. Something like this. So for the main riff for level 5, we're playing almost the exact same thing we did for level 4, only this time we're really focusing on getting that quarter note pulse going on the hi-hats. These dynamics really, really make the song. If you're rocking 8 notes at a consistent volume throughout the whole piece, it's gonna sound kind of janky. You don't want that. You want that quarter note pulse happening on the hi-hat so that the audience can kind of bob their heads and jam along to it. Something like this. So put that all together and it sounds like this. All right, I hope you really enjoyed this lesson and got something out of it. And even if you weren't able to identify what level you're at, I really hope this was an encouraging video for those beginners out there who really want to play this song. I hope it proved that even if you are just starting out, you can have fun to System of a Down. And if you want the sheet music for this, I have notated this entire song note for note, which you can find in the description. Just click that link and you can download it so you can learn exactly what John Dolmayan plays in Chop Suey. Hope you enjoy, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see y'all later.